Hockeytown, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here. Now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town. We won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours, we're all to drink. It's our time, let's rock this ring.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You are here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Zach, Carlo, and Derek. Boys, happy Sunday. Another beautiful matinee day for Detroit Red Wings hockey game. How's your guys' weekend going?
Yeah, couldn't be too worse. Was dying all yesterday from a torn back, so that was really great. But, you know, we got the Red Wings today against Buffalo. Hopefully, we can pull out what we did a couple weeks ago against them and get another win. So, high hopes. Carlo, how you been, buddy?
Good, man. No complaints. Just focused on one thing and one thing only, WIN.
Dubs.
Focused on that win. That's it. That's really it. So I'm really eager and anxious to get to this game because we need a win, boys. We need a win.
I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one anxious about today's game because I've been anxious since yesterday when the Tampa Bay Lightning lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I was like, damn, dude, another team this much closer to getting into the wild card spot. Yeah, boys, it's been a hectic weekend to say the least, especially if you're a Red Wings fan. I mean, boys, let's just go ahead and jump into it, right? I mean, the Red Wings losing 3-2 in overtime in a shootout to the Florida Panthers. The Red Wings did end up beating the Tampa Bay Lightning and then losing to the New York Rangers in a very horrible way. Personally, I believe. I think it was a bad loss to take. Get it? It's against a good team, but it's still a bad loss to take. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Go ahead and tell them, Derek, and then make sure that they're hitting that thumbs up as well. You can't see it, but that's okay. Let's try and get this to 20 likes. Yes, you heard me here, 20 likes. And if you're over on Spotify, why don't you go ahead and hit that follow button if you haven't already, and then rate us the 5 stars. Ain't my hand. All right, cool.
Let's go.
Let's go. And so, yeah, let's break down the Florida Panthers versus Detroit Red Wings game where, honestly, the Red Wings looked all right in this game. I personally thought that they looked better defensively. They seemed more reliable out on the ice. There were definitely some miscues. Obviously, that's going to happen, but they had a lot of opportunities this game too. I mean, just looking at minus the shot total, the Red Wings were outshot 38-22, but good on Alex Lyon. I thought he played a fantastic game up against his former team. We did very well on the faceoff percentage. We were able to convert on 2 of our goals, both of our goals, actually, the only 2 that we had. Hitting was out there, 33 hits compared to the 41 of the Florida Panthers. That's a lot, but we had a lot of block shots too. And so if we didn't block half of the 25 shots, imagine how many shots on goal that they still would have had, right? You can't convert all those, but it's still pretty crazy, right? And the goal scorers for this game were Robbie Fabry off of David Perron, Alexander Barkov getting 2 back-to-back, Dylan Larkin coming in clutch to tie the game in the second period, or in the third period. Actually, I lied, with 4 minutes to go on the power play. And then, yeah, you go into OT. Red Wings had a couple opportunities. They weren't able to convert, and then you go into a shootout. Sam Reinhart, OT winner, basically. I can't remember if any of the Red Wings players actually scored on the shootout. I don't believe any of them did. And really tough loss to take, but up against a top 3 team like the Florida Panthers, I'll take the frickin' point.
Oh, yeah.
What? Go ahead, Carlo. What did you think about the game?
I thought they played a good game. Pretty complete, very limited in their mistakes, which was nice to see. Jeff Petrie did not have the leading amount of ice time, which was amazing to see. So they definitely scaled him back a little bit. But no, I think you covered it all, man. It was a good game. It was well balanced. I thought, again, they limited their mistakes. They played well against a very, very good team. And mind you, they had the same record. Detroit and Florida had the same record over 10 games going into that game. I think it was 3-6-1.
You talked about that on the last episode.
Yeah. So I don't think Florida was playing at their level 11. I really don't think they were.
No.
But to hang with them still, even the Florida Panthers on a bad day, to be able to hang with that team like the Wings did and get that point, huge point for Detroit.
Correct. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Huge point for Detroit trying to keep in this playoff wild card race. Derek, overall thoughts about the game as well?
I mean, I thought the boys did pretty well this game, especially for what they had in toolkit. I mean, watching them go, especially from the game prior against Florida, where Florida was just getting under our skin and not be able, like, we weren't able to do anything because we were getting so irritated. It kind of seemed like we were going the opposite direction this game. Florida was getting more irritated than we were, and we were starting to capitalize on it a little bit. Obviously, Lyon did stand on his head for us, which is what we needed him to do against his old team. For some reason, our goalies love to play outstanding against the teams that they were just on, but I'll take it where we can get it. I mean, I would have loved to see the win. I really hate shootouts still. I feel like it still possesses no quality in the game. Like, doesn't show you who's the better team is. It just shows you who can shoot fancy. Reinhardt got it, and they won. But in all, I thought it was a good game by the boys, so I'm not really upset with that 1 point that we got.
No, and you can't be. I mean, yeah, Carlo, you talked about how Jeff Petrie's role wasn't as big of a factor this game. I thought he played very well. I mean, yeah, he was below his average, which he played 17:54 on ice. Alex Lyon, yeah, Derek, you talked about Alex Lyon as much as I did. So 36 saves out of the 38 shots against for a 947 save percentage. And then, like I mentioned, you had Dylan Larkin getting the tying goal, Patrick Kane getting an assist, Perron getting an assist, and then Robbie Fabry getting a goal as well. Yeah, and the Red Wings all around, I mean, the first period, they did a lot better this game, right? They weren't being outshot 20-3 or anything crazy. It was 8-10. Then you go into the other periods. Third period, they definitely could have had more shots on net. They only had 5 to Florida's 13, but that's where Alex Lyon shined, and that's kind of been one of the stories so far this season, right? Is that the goalie has to step up and play lights out a little bit to help out his team and get into positions to go into overtime, right? But I'll take the point. Much like we all said, I thought it was a great effort by this Detroit Red Wings team to try and keep themselves in the playoff hunt, which they are doing, especially going into the win against the Tampa Bay Lightning, like it shows at the bottom where they won 4-2. Yeah. And with this, I mean, Daddy P and Alex Lyon, to me, I thought that they were the heroes of this game, right? They ended up getting the first and second star of the game, where Alex Lyon posted a 944 save percentage, which is crazy. Daddy P got 1 goal, which was the one that ended up being the game winner, even though Lucas Raymond did get the empty netter. So congrats to him as well. And then Patrick Kane, obviously, is the one who opened up the scoring with Larkin and DeBrincat assisting on that. And so this was, to me, one of the better games that the Red Wings have played overall. Shots were very close, 32-36, very close on the faceoffs, 51-49. Hits 29-36, block shots 19-14. The Red Wings just love blocking shots. It is incredible to see. And so, yeah, with this game, you had Wallman back in, you had Mata out, which we had now just learned that is day-to-day. Alex Lyon was in net again once again. Derek, what do you think overall about this game?
I mean, we played pretty much as well as I could have hoped us to play against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we actually rose past the occasion. Everyone wants to write out the Tampa Bay right now just because they're getting older. They're not in that top seed anymore, but all around, Tampa is probably one of the best teams I still think in the league. And the fact that we brought it to them, I mean, obviously at times there were probably like 3-4 minutes of tense in there, especially in the third period where they were starting to run all over us, and it kind of got a little scary. And that ended up getting the Stamkos goal. But at the same time, when you have that power play like that and you're passing it to the same guy 4 times in a row, was it, in the same spot? One of those shots is going to go in. And on the third or fourth one, they finally got it in. But thank God Daddy P was out there to put that little backhand home past Vasilevsky. Don't know how he missed that. Again, don't even know how he missed Kane's first goal. Not going to complain. I'm going to love every bit of it. I just think the boys did a great game. It was well run. If we can just continuously do that for the next 6 games leading up, I wasn't even upset with the Friday game. There was a couple mistakes there, but we keep rolling like this, boys. Those chances of a playoffs are still there for us. So
Got a question for you guys. What did you get from Joe Veleno against Tampa? He had 4 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time. Was he that bad? Was he not being utilized properly? I don't, like 4 minutes?
I did hear Mickey talking about that up in the presser too, and he randomly got something like got benched or something in the first, and he magically appeared at the very end of the third again for some faceoffs. I was just like, what happened? Like I have no
I
news
don't know
on that either.
That's a
He didn't
great
give up the
call out
goal.
because I didn't even notice that. So that's very interesting to me. I mean, my answer was going to be I didn't notice him, and that's probably why, because he only played less than
Exactly.
5 minutes. So I mean, let's see here. He 6 shifts. I mean, no shots, no. He had 1 hit. Yeah, he was 50% on the faceoffs. Who knows how many faceoffs he actually took? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning was behind that. But then you look at someone like Robbie Fabry, who got 19 minutes, 14 seconds. Maybe it was just that whole entire bottom line because the Red Wings ended up playing. Oh, no, they didn't. They only played 6 defensemen. So not entirely sure what the main reason was for that. Carlo, what do you think?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened. He wasn't a minus player. He didn't give away anything. I don't know if he just couldn't go. I don't know if something happened, but it was weird to me that he was limited to 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Like that's obviously a coach's decision somewhere down the line, unless of course he just was not able to go. But I don't think it was that. I think for some reason he was benched. But speaking of the 6 defensemen, Jake Wallman was back in, only had 12 minutes of ice time, and Petrie again in that 17-minute mark, which is where I think we should see him and where I think he thrives. He was a +2, and he had 2 blocks, so decent game from Jeff Petrie there. And then, of course, Wallman, 12 minutes, 1 block, 0, no pluses, no minuses or anything like that. So he played. I mean, I think it was first game back, so probably easing him into it. But this was a game where I think in a little while, I think it was well coached. I don't know exactly what happened with the Veleno situation, but I think with this game against Tampa, and I guess you would expect it. I mean, Derek Lalonde from Tampa knows the DNA of that team. Therefore, I think he knows how to reverse engineer the coaching on it, and he's shown that. I mean, they swept Tampa Bay this year, which is huge.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, to Derek's point, not a team you should write off, especially right now. They are buzzing. Kucherov is not playing just at the Kucherov rate you would expect this time of year. Great team, phenomenal team, and they're absolutely on fire right now. So to sweep them and to do that third game sweep in their barn was huge. Credit to the team. Obviously, Derek Lalonde made some pretty interesting coaching decisions with Veleno's minutes, Wallman's minutes, et cetera, but you can't really complain about those. They were obviously winning decisions, as we saw with a 4-2 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, yeah, that's kind of my recap on the game. I just thought it was interesting with the very limited minutes on Joey V there. So maybe he was eating pasta or something, and coach was like, "You got to sit down."
Had a cramp, needed to go eat some pasta real quick.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
No, you're good. I was just saying, yeah, needed to eat up on some pasta and fix you know what, forget it. I'll just edit that part out because I forgot what I said. But I did want to give a shout out to Simon Edmondson, who basically did set up JT Comfort to get that drive going for the second goal, the Robbie Fabry goal, driving to the net, and then Robbie Fabry being there and able to put the puck in the net. And that's, speaking of questions, you brought up Joe Veleno, so I kind of want to talk about Vasilevsky a little bit. Is it his injury that makes it seem like that he's been off his game, or is it just one of those things where the whole entire team, meaning the Tampa Bay Lightning, were just off this game? Because Vasilevsky was letting in some pretty interesting goals. I'm not going to say the easiest goals, or the back, or what was it, the backhand behind for Patrick Kane. I think the goal that he scored was backhand. That was a fluke goal, personally, in my opinion. I'm honestly surprised that Vasilevsky didn't corral that Comfort, stride into the net forcing it into the net type of play. And then, yeah, even the David Perron goal. I mean, what's up with Vasilevsky? Honestly, I guess that's the question. Are we finally seeing him just kind of not fall off a cliff, but is he losing traction as being one of the best goalies in the league? Or is this just a testament to how good the Red Wings played, or just the Tampa Bay Lightning just not showing up to play as they usually do?
I mean, heck, I'd say Jeff Petrie did better at goaltending than Vasilevsky did on that game. So,
yeah, we didn't bring that up. He saved a goal. Honestly,
yeah, he did.
It looked like it crossed the line for a second there. I was like, I'm so glad that they couldn't see it based off the camera angle, because it slightly did look like it was going in. But thank you, Jeff Petrie. Never thought I'd ever be saying that, but
that
sorry,
was crazy.
Derek. Continue, Derek.
I mean, I lost my train of thought now. We got on Jeff Petrie, and I'm like, when do we say anything about him? That's nice. So let's give him his comeuppance.
No, I mean, yeah, he's been playing a lot better lately. It's awesome. Carlo, what do you think about Andrei Vasilevsky, though?
I think he's still a world-class goalie, in my opinion. He did make some massive saves that game. I think the saves, the one common thing that I found with the goals that he let in, were they happened so fast. Fabry's goal was bang, bang. Perron's goal was bang, bang. Patrick Kane, I feel like, it's Patrick Kane. Like, the way he can get a shot off no matter what the situation is insane. And it's hard to read that, and it's hard to react to that. Was it a fluke? Maybe. But I also think Vasilevsky wasn't expecting it and was maybe positionally set a little too much, and he just couldn't adjust. But I don't think he's falling off a cliff. I think he's playing in front of a Jeff Blashill defense. And
ouch.
I mean, what else can I say?
That's fire, dude. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong there. So yeah, multiple things. I mean, like I mentioned, he's coming back from that injury. I mean, granted, that was a while ago, but that injury, it just could be one of those situations where a good offseason will do him wonders, and he'll come back and bounce back a little bit better next season. But I mean, around the league, goaltending is, not to say that it's bad this season. Goal scoring is at its all-time high. Every team is scoring. Good, bad teams, everyone is scoring. So, but yeah, I agree with you. They're bang plays. I don't think he's necessarily falling off a cliff. I think it's just a lot of everything, right? This Tampa Bay Lightning team is not the same from 4 years ago, right? They've lost a lot of key players. They're getting older. Steven Stamkos, geez, it feels like he's 40 now. He's only like 36, 35, I believe. So, and he's still ripping the puck like he's
he's sick.
Yeah, he is a disgusting player. Braden Point continues to be dangerous. Kucherov continues to be dangerous. Gaudreau, for whatever reason, is dangerous against the Detroit Red Wings going into the New York Rangers game, where the Red Wings did lose 3-4. And so, honestly, I thought we were going to get a point out of this game. We were very, very much pace to pace with this New York Rangers team, who is a heavy hitting team. Granted, they didn't have the Empire State Building out there because of, did he get suspended, or was it just a scratch?
I think it was just a scratch, but Detroit's also very soft. You don't really need the Empire State Building out there against a team like that, because, I mean, he's just going to have his way with the whole team. So it's like better off we don't really need them. They use their skill set more or less than their size and physicality against Detroit.
And they technically did. I mean, they opened up the scoring, which, I mean, for me, when the opposing team opens up the scoring, it spells doom to me, because the Red Wings always have a tough time trying to come back after that, and they just diminish as soon as that happens. But Andrew Kopp was able to get it back. But then, like I mentioned, Gaudreau, he was able to make it 2-1 right at the end. I think there was like 30 seconds left in the first period. Then you got JT Compher coming in and being the hero for us, scoring right away within the first minute and a half, off an assist of Jeff Petrie. There we go. He's looking better and better as time goes on. We love to see that. Then Dylan Larkin makes it 3-2 off the power play. And from there, I thought, it could have been done. That's in the second period. Just kind of hold them off as long as you can. But it's really difficult when you got players like Panarin and Trocheck out there. Then you got Adam Fox on defense as well, Keandre Miller, just to name off a couple players. But once again, Barclay Goodrow, little after midway through the second period, gets a second goal. And Carlo, I think it was you who said that he only had 4 goals for the whole entire year and somehow manages to get 2 on the Detroit Red Wings. But that's how the Red Wings play.
Yeah, that's the sad part about the Red Wings. And when they give up their goals, it's to players that are scoring their first career NHL goal, or a player who's only got 4 on the season. It's been years of that. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is the way it is, but I'll losing 4-3 to the Rangers, not bad when you're looking at it on paper. But if you actually watch that game, that entire game, it looked like the Wings were a group of, and I put this out there, it looked like the Wings were a group of guys who expected the other guy to do it. And what I mean by that is, oh, I'm not going to do it, you take it. Oh, I'm not going to do it, you take it. And a perfect example of that was, I think it was right in the last, 2 minutes of the game. Kane had a prime opportunity in the slot. Was Raymond open? Yeah, he was there. There was somebody close to him. He was available. Kane decided to pass. If Kane rips that puck, there's a good chance it's going in the net and that game's tied. And that's my point, is this team is and I'm not against Tampa Bay, obviously, but a lot of the theme of when they lose their games, it's because they think the guy next to them is going to do it. And that's their problem, I think. That's what it kind of sums up to be to me, in my own opinion, is just that. But yeah, Derek, what are your thoughts on that game overall?
Before you continue on, Derek,
yeah,
and just kind of backing up from your point, Carlo. Yeah, Chris Kreider was the one who was able to break the tie in the game, and that was off a power play goal. Yeah. The person who took that penalty was David Perron, Daddy P.
It was a bad penalty.
Derek, I want to ask you this question. Carlo, you can chime in afterwards as well.
Sure.
Do you believe that this game was costed at the mercy of David Perron's penalty that he took for the high stick?
Did they score on the 4-on-5?
They did.
Then it is that penalty's fault. You can't really do much about that. That's a bad timing for a penalty, a bad timing for a high stick. Put your team short when you're tied 3-3 against the number 1 team in the entire league right now. Yeah, you cost the team the game a little bit there. There's no sugarcoating that at all. Bad timing, lazy penalty, hurt the team, and we lost for it. So,
yeah, Carlo, I asked you this last episode if you're changing your mind on re-signing Daddy P. Is that changing anymore?
No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, it was an emotional loss, and yeah, it was 100%. I think Perron, it was a stupid penalty. That's not enough for me to say no to re-signing him. And honestly, guys, the only reason why I keep saying that is because I don't know who can protect the puck like he can. Listen, if he doesn't protect the puck as well as he does, he gets burned 100 times out of 100 times. Yep. And I think he understands that, and maybe that's why he's so good at protecting the puck. But regardless, it's an asset. On the power play, he's a reason why we stay in the zone. Quite frankly, it's because of him, or because there's Seider on the back end, or even now Edvinsson getting these power play minutes with their reaches. I'm keeping David Perron, of course, at a very team-friendly deal, should he choose to accept that. And, you talked about all the time him playing in a bottom 6 role, and I agree with you. I think, bottom 6 or call it top 9 role, and then, of course, some power play minutes. But I think his power play minutes need to be limited down because the guy gets gassed. And it's not anybody. He's an older guy. Like he's up there. And he's going to get gas. That's what it's like when you're a human being at that age, playing professional sports against, a top tier team. You're going to get tired. But no, I'm not changing my tune on that. I do like David Perron, and unless there's somebody out there who's on the UFA list, or if there's a good trade candidate out there that can come in and protect the puck like David Perron can, and maybe is 6 years younger, I'm all ears. I'm absolutely all ears to compare and look at that. And maybe that's something I'll take away and have for one of our future episodes is, who could be the Daddy P replacement, hypothetically. And I'm definitely going to do some research on that and start looking around the league.
I wonder, well, we should have asked that question when we spoke to the Hockeytown West guys, and shout out to them once again. Thanks for having us on. We definitely want to do another episode with you guys soon.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
the Red Wings don't make the playoffs, maybe we'll hop onto an episode with you guys and start cheering on the Grand Rapids Griffins. But I wonder if there's one of those players. Maybe that's Casper down there. Maybe that could one of those players. I mean, that's a definitely a question I want to ask Nick and Brandon the next time that we hop on their podcast over there. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and check them out. They are Grand Rapids Griffins based podcast. Go ahead and give them a follow on Twitter. You can subscribe to them on YouTube as well, and multiple other platforms that they are on. So, but yeah, I'm putting a lot of the blame on David Perron for this game, honestly. I mean, like I mentioned, you had it was set 3-3, right? And I thought that the Red Wings definitely could have closed that out. They were doing very well against them 5 versus 5. That was just a very soft, and not to put blame onto the refs, but there were definitely some soft calls out there that I thought that they made. I didn't think that they should have called that on David Perron, because his stick definitely got lifted by the player that he ended up getting the high sticking on, but it is what it is. You know, you can't blame everything on the refs, right? And so that props to this team for Derek, right? Maybe, but props to this team for sticking very close to a top Rangers team. Once again, I mean, Florida Panthers did the same thing against the Rangers. Wish we got a point. That definitely would have helped us out, but it is what it is. Rasmussen and Mata were out of this game, learning that both now are day-to-day with, I believe either one has an upper body and a lower body injury, I believe. Justin Hall was scratched, and then Fabry ended up fighting Gaudreau. What did you guys think of that fight real quick? It was meh. Congrats. Yeah, claps.
I mean, can't say no to a good fight. I'm so happy the highlights actually showed me that, because they never show fights in the highlight reels. And I was like, I don't have time to watch the full game today. So let's go. Highlights.
Highlights. Yeah. And so with that wraps up the rundown of the games that the Red Wings have played this week so far. The Red Wings do play today against the Buffalo Sabres at 1 p.m. It is Sunday, April 7th, 2024. It is currently 11:45 a.m. So we are recording before the game. So real quick, boys, what do the Wings need to do to go into this game and get a dub? Just keep playing the way that you've been playing, please. I think you're going to get a win that way. Just play a little shutdown game. Don't do it like the last time you did against Buffalo, or what was it? The game before that? It seems like that they played Buffalo like 3 times in the last like 2 months or something like that.
I think it was 2 weekends ago. I think it was a 1:00 game as well that they played Buffalo.
So not the last game where you won 4-1, but don't play like the game when you lost 3-7, right? And so play like you did the 4-1 game, and I think they absolutely could do it. But Buffalo has very much a lot to play for. I mean, if they win, they're only 2 points behind from a wild card spot behind the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then they play the Washington Capitals one more time, just like how we do. So a lot of these games are becoming very, very important, and thank goodness the Philadelphia Flyers keep losing. But yeah, real quick, boys, what do the Red Wings need to do to get a dub versus the Buffalo Sabres?
Like you said, Zach, play like you played the last 3 games, and we should be A-okay. Even though the fact that we did forget that Cirelli basically had a hat trick on that Tampa Bay game. But I'm really happy we perused over that, because that was painful to keep watching that happen.
Not important, Carlo.
Not anymore.
What do the Wings?
I mean, you guys are pretty much wrapping that one up. Specifically, I think they need to, these players on the team, these top players on the team need to own the fact that they need to go and do it, and stop looking at the guy next to them and just go and do it. Like, if you have a puck on your stick and you have a slot chance, shoot the puck. Shoot the puck. That's my message to the team. Shoot the puck.
And that's what I'm just going to reference my dad here, because that's what he always says. Like, I scream at the TV every time, just shoot the puck, because you're exactly right, Carlo. They pass it way too much. Just shoot it. Even if it doesn't get on net, that's okay. But keep on passing is not going to get the puck closer to the net, right? And it's not going to create a higher chance. It could, obviously, but it's not going to. So just take the shot, because you never know what's going to happen. So just do it, please. Start shooting the puck more. Kane,
that's it.
Larkin, DeBrincat needs to figure it out. whatever's going on.
Yeah,
With him.
he's gripping that stick too tight. I feel so bad for him, man. It's not like he can't do it. He's a great player, and I mean, he really is. I mean, I remember a time where, and I'm sure you guys do too, where I think Brett Hall was looking for a goal number. I can't remember. It was a big milestone goal, and it took him like, I think it took him like 20 games to get it because he was just gripping that stick too tight.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, those were the good old days, right? But it just reminded me of that. But I think DeBrincat's going to figure it out. I think it's DeBrincat. He's a goal scorer, great shot. We've seen it many, many times this year. He's just gripping that thing a little too tight. But I wanted to bring something up to the table here regarding these teams that are in the mix. And I specifically wanted to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers and their the position they're in and their head coach, John Tortorella. We all know who John Tortorella is. I'm personally an absolute fanboy of John Tortorella. And I don't know if you guys caught his last I don't know if it was post-game or post-skate press conference. Go watch that press conference. Like that's a video you should watch in like a sales meeting at 8 a.m. to get fired up. Like, and I'm bringing this up because I wanted to do like just draw a bit of a comparison to the Philadelphia Flyers, John Tortorella specifically, and to Derek Lalonde, because the message we keep hearing from Derek Lalonde over and over and over again is we're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be here. We don't have a starting goalie. We signed Alex Lyon to be the starter in Grand Rapids. Guys, if you were players on the Detroit Red Wings and you heard your head coach saying that over and over and over again, what does that do to your psyche? What does that do to your psyche to go out there and play dominantly, considering where you are? Because I'll tell you what the contrary is with John Tortorella. He owned everything. He's like, oh, people are telling me we're not supposed to be here and these kids are young. And what is his response? Bullshit. We are here and it's on me for not getting these guys prepared because they made it here. So you're a player on Philly. You hear your coach talking like that. I'm going to go out there swinging because I know my coach wants me to, and he's taking some ownership. And, he's got his neck on the line here too. But more importantly, we made it. We did this. Let's go. We're here. Then on the soft Red Wings side, I'll say it, and I have no problem saying it, Derek Lalonde is soft. Telling everybody, we're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be here. If I'm a Red Wing player, I'm annoyed. I'm defeated. I'm dejected. And I'm not having a good time as a player because I'm sure these guys are watching these videos. Like if you're a player on a team, you got to be watching some of these posts, maybe not all of them, but you got to be watching some of these post-game press conferences. So I guess my question is, what is Derek Lalonde doing to the psyche of the team right now?
I'll let Derek answer first, but yes, Carlo has officially trademarked Derek Lalonde as soft. For you guys that couldn't read Derek's handwriting, every tweet so far has been Carlo trademarking that. So, Derek, you answered that first.
I mean, it is kind of like, as a player, it's kind of weird to hear your coach talking about you like that. Like, obviously, we know the Red Wings are in the category of being a superstar team. Are we a cup contender? Probably not. Yeah. But your coach doesn't have to come out every press conference and tell everybody, like, yeah, this is why we're not winning this well, or this is why we lost this game. We're just not supposed to be here. It's okay. It's like, it's not really okay. You want to win every game. You want to know what the reasons are for that. And you can't just keep throwing it on the players and the fact that you didn't think they were going to be there at the beginning of this year. That's changed. I like where Carlo's coming from. John Tortorella, a hard ass over there in Philadelphia, but he's a good coach. A lot of players
he takes accountability,
style, but it's working. Like, there's a lot of players that go through that system and they love them. A lot of people hate them. It's like, depends on what your stance is, but he's doing the opposite of what Derek is right now. So I probably am more so on the side of Carlo right now, but do I think it's time to get rid of him if we're going that way? Not really. But I feel like we need to get a different tone from him if he wants to spark something under this team.
I have a follow-up question, Zach, real quick, and you can start it off. That 7-game losing streak that we went on, Does that losing streak happen with John Tortorella behind the Detroit Red Wings bench?
I saw something this morning and I didn't think that this question was going to be asked. And it's very funny that you brought that up because I do believe so, only because the Philadelphia Flyers have lost their last 4, maybe 5 games. In the meantime, I'm going to try and pull it up as well, where I saw this tweet where they have been outshot or outscored. I mean, what is it, like 16-9? And they've lost to, these are the last teams that they've played against. They lost 6-2 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They lost 4-2 to the Buffalo Sabres. They lost in overtime to the New York Islanders, lost 1-5 to Chicago, lost 1-4 to the Montreal Canadiens. So I'm just going to say, yeah, because that's pretty bad. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with John Tortorella. Okay. I think his assertiveness is definitely needed in a hockey team, right? I like the way that he approaches speaking to media. I like how he tries to get underneath the asses of his players and light a fire underneath them to get them going. Sometimes it can rub people off the wrong way. We've heard it time and time again. There are certain players that don't like John Tortorella because of the way that he coaches. Now, would I like to take some of John Tortorella's characteristics and put them in Derek Lalonde? Yes, 100%. Because Derek Lalonde, to me now, it's very boring. And when I say boring, it's whenever I hear him talk, it's like he's putting me to sleep a little bit. Like I don't hear, like he almost talks like how I talk, like very monotone, except for when I get excited. Obviously, you can hear my voice going up a couple octaves, right? But he's very monotone, just very like just boring, I guess, you know, and I want him to, I don't know if he's trying to hold players accountable by saying that and kind of like throwing them under the bus, because that's what you're doing, is throwing your players under the bus by saying we don't have a starting goaltender. Alex Lyon's been your starter for the last 30 something games. What are you talking about? He's your starting goaltender. Just because you started him as the third string goalie at the start of the season does not mean that he's not a starting goalie. He's done very well for you guys. And going back to the psyche question, yeah, I think that possibly could. But here's Alex Lyon, where he said in an interview, I can't remember if it was like post game or whatever it was. He's like, yeah, just let me know whenever you need me and I'll be ready. And that was when he was the third string starting goaltender, right? So he said it's part of the job. And so, but if in sports, if I ever heard my coach talking like that, I'd be like, well, I kind of want to go play for a different team now, if that's truly what you think. But that's just me. These are professional athletes that make millions of dollars and they've been in it. So I can't answer for them. But to me, yeah, and Carlo, this kind of goes into, I'll just say it, we're already in main topics right now, so let's continue it going. I have something else here where Bobby Duff reports that Lalonde might be out and Craig Berube could be at the top of Yzerman's list for a new head coach. So do you guys believe that the article reads that Lalonde did sign a 3-year deal? Okay.
Yeah, I did see that.
Do you believe that the Red Wings would move on from Lalonde a year before his contract actually ends? What else? And to follow up with that, you know, or actually, I'll just ask that. Do you honestly believe that this could be the last season for Lalonde and Steve Yzerman is willing to cut ties a year before that the contract actually ends? Derek, you go first.
Derek, take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a no on this one. I don't think we're going to cut ties with Derek just yet. It's more so going off the basis of what he came into. That team back in last year, not great. A slow increase in what our production is this year. We're better. Of course, we have our stints of where we're like, what the hell is going on? Why did he say that? Where are we right now? But I feel like it's just a drastic move to make, especially with only 1 year left on the contract. So I don't see them cutting ways right now. Maybe if we have this like a year of, if we had the same exact year as this year next year, or worse, obviously, we would probably be cutting ties and wouldn't be renegotiating with them at all. But I don't think we're going to be cutting ties this year just yet.
Quick question before you go, Carlo. Has Yzerman ever let go of a coach midway through the season before?
Ooh.
I don't know why any of us would ever know that, but that is a question that I want to ask if he has or not, because he didn't do that with Blashill. But I wonder if he would do that to Lalonde if Lalonde went on another 7-game losing skid next season.
Did he
who
coached before Cooper? Who was the head coach at Tampa before?
Was it Tortorella?
So before John Cooper, Guy Boucher. That's who it was.
Yeah, Guy Boucher. All right.
And Guy Boucher coached them for 3 years, 2010 to 2013, and then John Cooper came in 2013. But I don't know if Boucher got fired mid-season. That's what I got to find out. Let's see if we can find that out. Tampa Bay Lightning announced on Sunday that they have relieved head coach Guy Boucher of his duties after the team struggled through a 13-17-1 start to the lockout-shortened 2013 season.
Wow.
And that was on March 24th. So March 24th, 2013 is when they fired Guy Boucher. So it wasn't even mid-season. It was actually towards the tail end. But I guess it was a shortened season. So that might have been at the, you know what, March 24th might have been the end of the season because it was that lockout shortened season.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be that. But I don't think Yzerman's the type of guy that's going to fire anybody now, like of all times. Even mid-season, I really don't think he would. I've never seen it before outside of that shortened season thing, but yeah, I guess if I were to
let's go back to the original question. Yeah, is this potentially Lalonde's last year? Or could you see the Red Wings keeping him?
For me, if they don't make playoffs, I think he should be gone. I think the entire coaching staff should be gone. If this team didn't have Patrick Kane, I'd keep him for another year because maybe we get that UFA next year. So it's benefit of the doubt. But at this point, personally, just for me, I have run out of benefit of the doubts. And I truly think if Derek Lalonde, if the Detroit Red Wings miss postseason this year, regardless of what happens, I think that is 100% on him and the decisions he made since October. I really believe that. I've run out of excuses for the guy. I've run out of benefit of the doubts. This team on paper is very good. I just don't think he's worth bringing back for another year because look at the system they play, guys. Like, it's boring hockey. It's dump and chase. I don't want to say it's mindless, but it kind of is. And I think this team deserves a system that complements the skill set of this team because I do think they are more skilled than maybe this coach thinks. Hell, I'll say it again. This coach doesn't believe they should be there right now. I don't want you as my coach. You don't believe we are here. Like, we are here. We were here by an 8-point margin. And you're still going back to we shouldn't be here. No, man. He's not intense. He's not saying the right things. I think he's 100% affecting the psyche of these players and frankly making them a little bit worse. I'm going to go out there and say it. That's a bold take. And I'm going to take the criticism I'm going to probably get from that. But I have just run out of reasons, man. I think after this year, I think they need to part ways with him. And Craig Berube, if he's a guy that comes in, look what he did to the St. Louis Blues. They were the worst team in the league. And then January 1, different team. They win the Stanley Cup that year. That's a coach I can get behind because obviously he knows how to control the room and the psyche of the room, the level of the room. What more do you need to see? Like, look what he did. So I'd be very excited and intrigued for a Craig Berube type of hire. I think, I've seen it online where everyone was really hopeful and wishful for Fedorov. I really don't think that's going to happen. That'd be amazing if that happened. Hence why I'm
Make
wearing
it
my Fedorov
happen,
jersey.
please.
Not a big deal.
Make it happen.
That
Even
would be
as an
sweet.
assistant coach, that would be so.
Can you
sick.
imagine? Can you imagine Igor Larionov and Sergei Fedorov behind the bench? As a player, what do you say to those two guys? They can still play your position better than you right now. What are you going to say to them? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thanks for existing.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, guys, every day.
So I did do a poll on Twitter. This kind of ties into it a little bit, but kind of a little difference in it. But yeah, don't mind me blabbering. But the tweet was, and it was a poll, what should Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings focus on upgrading the most in the offseason? And I also went on to say, unfortunately, Twitter doesn't allow me to do more than 4 options, or else I would have an above all as the 5th option. And so out of the 80 votes, thank you to those who did vote. 35% of the voters said defensive depth. Next up was goaltending depth, then center depth, then coaching. So 17% only said coaching. I'm kind of surprised there, but I'm not shocked, because to me, and this is going back to what you said, Carlo, that the system, it's really not working. So I do believe that if you're going to make coaching change, it's not going to be Lalonde first. It's going to be assistant coaches. Bubner, Tanguay, I can't say it enough. I do think that their systems for special teams and they're very wishy-washy, flip-flopping. There's no consistency there. And that's the same with the Lalonde system too. I mean, you talk about the dump and chase, where I was watching the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Tampa Bay Lightning game yesterday. Yeah. I saw Tampa Bay doing the dump and chase, and they were the first ones to the puck every single time. The Red Wings don't do that. And it's like, wow, this is what a good team looks like when they execute the dump and chase. Don't know what that's like. Haven't seen it before. Who do you know here? Type of deal, So it's very crazy to me. And so, and to Derek's point, it's. I want to see him one more year. I want to see a more talented team. But to your point, Carlo, on paper, this team does look like that they can be in a playoff spot, right? And by more than just a point making it into the playoffs. They should be in the 6 to 8 points above in the wild card race, like they were, what was it, 2 months ago, 1.5 months ago, before all this came crashing down on them. I mean, yeah, there's got to be someone held responsible for that, and that does fall on Lalonde. I mean, we're hearing how the players are taking control of the locker room and what's going on and what's being said. I don't know if this is a reason for Steve Yzerman to have them go through a learning curve, where if you guys can figure it out, then I can find a coach later on that can help you guys get out of those ruts if you guys can't. So I don't know if it's just another one of those things where, Lalonde is just a placeholder now. I mean, when we signed Lalonde, a lot of people were asking, can this guy take this team to a Stanley Cup final? A lot of people said yes. Do we
based off of what though
today? Because he came from Tampa Bay.
That's not enough. I'm sorry. That's not enough. I'm looking at your resume. That's not enough for me to be convinced that you're going to head coach a team to the Stanley Cup final, because you rode coattails in Tampa Bay with a team that had look at their players, man. Look at their head coach. That's a head coach. Cooper is awesome. I love John Cooper. Talk about accountability. Like he is accountability. But the team, I'm sorry, but when Derek Lalonde signed, I'm like, who is this guy? He's never been a head coach. He's never played at the NHL level. Why am I going to put all my eggs in this guy's basket?
So you kind of almost, yeah. Sorry to cut you off there, Carlo. But
no, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, you kind of brought up there, but not really. You were about to say it, but you were going to bring up picks too. The amount of first overall picks or really good picks that they have, like Stamkos, Braden Point. Kucherov wasn't an early pick though, but still a top premier player, right? Then you got Sergachev, then you have Hedman, players like those. Yeah, the Red Wings don't have those. So then, I mean, does having those good players automatically mean that you're going to make it to the Stanley Cup? To me, no, it doesn't. But would you say that helped out John Cooper and Lalonde be able to make it to those Stanley Cup finals that they did all those times?
Like the players?
Yeah, they're really good players. Yeah, since the Red Wings
of course,
don't really have any of those types.
Of course it does. I mean, Yzerman also walked into, I forget which, there was a couple players that he had coming into the organization too. Irrelevant, but I would be eager to look at Tampa Bay Lightning with 5 years of Yzerman as a GM and what that fifth season looked like versus, the Detroit Red Wings of this season, and take a look at the comparison of the two to see. That's how I would try to be honest with myself about, comparing those two things. But to the main point, I just can't see Derek Lalonde being the guy that takes his team to a cup final. He's not intense enough, man. He has zero intensity, and frankly, zero accountability. That's not if the players are coaching the team right now in the room, yeah, we got a little bit of work to do there, boys.
What about you, Derek, real quick? Do you think that Lalonde's, if you believed it before, I can't remember if you did or not, obviously, because it's been a couple years, but do you believe that Lalonde is a coach that could take this team to a Stanley Cup final?
No. I think he can help us get into a rebuild to a team that's going to be potentially making a run in the playoffs. Hopefully is what I'm thinking of next year. But after that, if that doesn't happen, he's gone.
I'll agree with you too, Derek. I mean, you mentioned too that if he's putting this team in the same, I'm bringing him back next year. But if there's a really good coaching option that's available, and if you go into the offseason telling yourself, if you're Steve Yzerman saying okay, if I go get another top 6 center or a winger, or I bolster up the defense and maybe make a goalie change, and if I want to surefire make the playoffs and there's a coach available that could 100%, maybe not 100% guarantee you in there, but you have a really good shot at it, go ahead and do that. Well, let's go ahead and move on to some Red Wings news, where I just wanted to start off with this one. It's not really Red Wings news, but it is Red Wings related, so it is technically news. Ken Kal on Twitter posts the current percentage to make the playoffs, and here are the teams that are still in the hunt to get that second wildcard spot, assuming that Tampa Bay is going to hold on to that number 1 spot, which is going to be likely. The New York Islanders, 68%, Detroit, 51.8%. Wow, we jumped up pretty high because everyone continues to lose. No one really wants that second wildcard spot. I don't know what it is, but it probably has the ick attached to it. Derek knows a lot about the ick. We haven't had to witness that in quite some time, so I'm thankful for that. The Pittsburgh Penguins, 40.2%. The Capitals, 25.8%. The Flyers, 11.3%. And then you got the Buffalo Sabres and the New Jersey Devils, both under 2%. There's still a chance. Much like all the Suns fans on Twitter keep saying, there's still a chance. They might be under 1%, but there's still a chance. So good on them. So I'm assuming, obviously, if they win today, that's going to jump up to probably to in the 60% for the Red Wings from a 51, maybe in the 70s, hopefully. But a dub is very much needed. I don't want to see this go into overtime. They just need to beat the pants off the Buffalo Sabres and make a statement. For other Red Wings news, Dylan Larkin is the first Red Wings player to have 3 consecutive 30-goal seasons since former captain Henrik Zetterberg did from the 2005 all the way to the 2009 season. Honestly, boys, this made me really, how do I want to say this? This gave me mixed feelings about it. I was very surprised, depressed, and happy all at the same time because, wow, congratulations to Larkin. Wow, it's been that long since
I know.
Have had that.
So true.
But that's awesome at the same time. But wow, it's been that long. So congratulations to Dylan Larkin for continue to being a horse out there. I mean, a lot of people doubted him for a long time. I mean, I mentioned earlier how goal scoring keeps on going up, but that's still a major feat to accomplish, right? So congratulations to him for doing that. Alex Lyon is the Red Wings 23-24 Masterton Trophy nominee for sportsmanship, perseverance, and dedication to hockey, as voted by the Professional Hockey Writers Association Detroit chapter. So much deserved, honestly. Alex Lyon, he's
when you literally win 25 games by yourself out there half the time, I'd say you're doing pretty well for your team, especially as the third starter at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, not the starting goaltender, Derek, the third string goalie, our third string goalie. Yeah.
But we don't have a starting goaltender, according to our
Nope.
head coach. We don't have a starting goaltender, and I don't know what we're doing here. Can't believe we're here.
And then speaking of goaltenders, Jan Bednar was named ECHL goaltender of the month of March after posting a 6-1-0 record, 2 shutouts, and a 159 goals against average in the month of March. That's honestly pretty freaking crazy. So congratulations to him. I know that the Walleye have been on an absolute tear. That Brandon Hawkins guy, I believe that's his name, he just posted up. I saw the notification earlier this week how he has 90 points this season. Freaking insane. So once again, Toledo Walleye, very good team, even without their former coach, Dan Watson. So congratulations to them. Hopefully they're on a nice playoff run other than last season where they got blown out in the third round, I believe it was. Derek, I can't remember exactly, but they looked good up until then. They shut out every single team.
Smack in the face that round. I remember that.
Yes, it was. But going into, we can briefly discuss this one. So it's a couple things here. So Jonathan Berggren has played in 123 games in the AHL, boys. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet either, but I want to ask real quick, how many points do you think he has in his AHL career? This was before the weekend games, I believe, so the points could have added up. But how many points do you think he has in his AHL career? Derek, go first. Take a guess.
Too many.
Too many. Yeah,
way too many for someone to be in the AHL still.
That is correct, but take a guess.
128.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Carlo, real quick.
How many games?
123.
120, 119.
124. So he's over a point per game player.
Damn it.
Which is incredible. I did not think that he was up there. I knew that he was well over a point per game player this season, but I could not remember if he was a point per game player last year or if he was just under that. Clearly, he was right around there. So, But with this, I wanted to go into and then talk about the top line of Grand Rapids Griffins, which currently has been Marco Kasper at the center, Jonathan Berggren on the right, and then Carter Mazur on the left. And in the last 10 games, I don't believe that they've been playing with each other for the last 10 games on the same line, but they could be. But in those 10 games, Berggren has 12 points for 7 goals, 5 assists. Kasper has 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. And then Mazur has 2 goals for 4 assists, 6 points in the 10 games. Can the Detroit Red Wings just create a whole entire line for these 3 players next season? Because I think that they would be a fantastic fourth or third line for the Detroit Red Wings. And if it's not next season where all 3 of them are being called up, I'm very much excited for those 3 to be on a line together in the future, because this is fantastic that all 3 of these players are thriving. And going back to Jonathan Berggren, it's almost a slap in the face to keep him down there at this point. But we know, like we talked about with Brandon and Nick, that if he's not going to get playing time up here, might as well send him down to Grand Rapids. And look at him. He's absolutely thriving. So if the Red Wings have to create a spot for him next season, could we potentially see a spot open up for Mazur or Kasper next season?
I mean, with
Carlo,
the
you go
coming up.
Or Derek, go first. Yeah, Derek, you go first.
No, yeah, I take it, man. Absolutely.
If we want to make some room, save some money, we got some big contracts coming up. I think it's a pretty smart move. Hell, if we want to make that whole line our 4th line, I'd say we'd be saving a couple $1 million there, and we'd have a pretty solid 4th line, I would say, for the NHL. So
I'd be okay with making them the 4th line if you can guarantee them around the 12-minute mark. I think that's fine for all 3 of them, just to start out for a year. And then obviously, depending on how they do, then you move them up. Is that going to happen? More than likely not, but we can dream and we can wish, right? Carlo, what do you think, though? Do you believe that there could be a spot for Kasper or Mazur next season? Because we already know that Berggren could be called up.
Yeah, for sure. Berggren, I think he unless he gets traded, he's got to be on the team, and they need to make that happen. Kasper, I give him a maybe with a side of really good chance. Mazur, I don't see it, not yet. Maybe like halfway through the season, but I don't see him starting, like being on opening night lineup. But I would really like to see Casper and Berggren together. That would be really cool as a third line. But then again, you look at the team right now, the makeup of the team right now, and the blueprint of the team right now. Casper, Berggren coming in, and this is a prime example of Berggren constantly being held back. The makeup of this team right now, they're not players that allow for Berggren to break out in the NHL. They're not players that allow for Casper to break out in the NHL, because you got to think of who they're going to be playing with and where they're going to be slotted into that lineup. The supporting players, they need to play with other players that can support them. They're not ready to take on that leadership type of role of that line leader to help out the Berggrens and the Caspers. So I think that's why we're not seeing these young kids make that step yet. We're still full of plug players that need somebody else to take that leadership in that line. And that kind of goes back to my point when we opened up. This team is a group of guys who think the guy next to him is going to do it. That's not a team I want Casper or Berggren to be on. Sorry, not yet.
I disagree. I'm just kidding. No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, like there's a lot of players on this roster. Yeah, they're all, majority of them are just plug-in players, right? And so if you're gonna swap one of them out for Casper or Mazur, are they going to succeed? Probably not, because you can say that for even the centers, Comfort, or maybe not Comfort, but Andrew Kopp. It's more and more looking like he's just a plug-in, right? We expected him to be a 2C. That didn't work out well. He's doing all right as a 3C, does well in the PK, but that's kind of about it. Derek, you sounded like you had more to say.
I mean, let's go around the lines. Like, I think Carlo's right at this point. Like, we don't really have anybody to set those guys up with. And it's basically, we've seen how Johnny Burgers did while he was on his game stint up here. Unfortunate time for him to get called up.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
Like, he had no one to help him. He was out there trying his best, obviously, with his limited amount of time that he's playing. But there's no one out there who's going to be passing the puck in an open slot. He can't skate end-to-end by himself going against a team like Florida or something like that. Like, obviously, Florida was the game beforehand, but at the same time, we still can't keep these guys down there for too much longer. We're going to lose them. Like, any longer for Johnny Burgers down there is just detrimental to his game at this point.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
I think Steve Yzerman has a very big offseason ahead of him. Like, I think this might be his biggest offseason, because now you got to think about these guys. You got to think about the Caspers. You got to think about the Berggrens. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are you doing to them? You're either trading them, or if you're going to bring them up, then now you got to do something with the big boy team. So I am really under the train of thought that Steve Yzerman is going to have a massive offseason to figure this out. Because now it's a little bit on. I mean, it is on him now at this point to make this all work.
Yeah,
I have total trust in Steve Yzerman to be the guy who's going to figure this out and make this work. Right, my trust in him has never wavered once over the course of the last, especially this year, but over the course of the last 5. So huge offseason is my prediction for this team. Biggest one we've seen in a very long time.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think I texted that in the chat too. I think that this is going to be the biggest season that we've seen from Steve Yzerman, and not just in the terms like last offseason was pretty big. I mean, you made the trade for Alex DeBrincat. You got Kane later on in the season, which was pretty nice. You signed some players, right? But yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of maneuvering and a lot of changes to this roster once again. So we're just going to have to wait and see, right? But I agree with you, with both of you, honestly. And let's go ahead and jump into our honorary Red Wing mention player of the week. Carlo, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, bud. Who do you got for us today?
So today, folks, we have a guy with the name of Ryan Sproul. Ryan Sproul is our Red Wing honorary mention this week. So claps for Ryan real quick. Ryan Sproul, for those of you who don't know, defenseman, great clap. Almost as good as a clapper as Ryan Sproul. Hey now, Ryan Sproul is a defenseman.
See what you did there.
He had 7 points in 28 games for the Detroit Red Wings, 1 goal, 6 assists. Present day, he has 11 points in 48 games for the Kunlun Red Stars of the KHL. 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points in 48 games. So big shout out to Ryan Sproul. Once again, clapper Ryan Sproul. We hope you're doing well, buddy. And keep clapping those claps.
Oh, Ryan Sproul, miss you, bud. Definitely wish you were here.
Don't even remember who you are, so thank you.
Oh my goodness, that's a lie. Derek's just joking. If you're watching or listening to this, Ryan Sproul, we miss you and we love you, buddy. Hopefully the KHL over there in Russia is treating you well. But yeah, he was serviceable defenseman for us at the time for the limited time. Maybe we could have utilized him a little bit better. Who knows? But just another Ken Holland pick, So like I said, hopefully Russia is going well for you guys.
Yeah, Russia sounds like a great place right now.
It's got to be if you're playing hockey. I mean, Putin, right? He loves this.
Yeah, honestly, if you're a hockey player, besides the goalie for Philly who got stuck there an extra year in the military, but
oh yeah, that big guy. Yeah, what's his Fedotov? What's his name?
Yeah, Derek's a professional name pronouncer over here. Fedotov? Is it Fedotov?
Fedotov. I think it's Fedotov. Yeah,
I think it's Fedotov.
All right, so we're gonna close it out with some around the league news. Derek, it looks like you put a lot in here. Some of these I might not have to speak on. I'm not sure, but
you really don't have to all of them.
Okay. Well, this one definitely is a big shout out that I have to give because it is the 6-year anniversary of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. So remembering those 16 players that passed away, even thinking about those players that made it, I couldn't imagine what it would be like being one of those boys that, made it through. Definitely feel for them. That was a couple of days ago, the anniversary of that. But yeah, that was a huge effect in the hockey community. And it was something that, it was talked about for that whole entire year, right? That it happened. I mean, the stories that came out of that, some of those players who actually survived. And I believe there was like 1 or 2 players that were able to actually come back and play hockey. So, the dedication and, the power and just the ability to come back and play the game too. I mean, just all of it, just a real sad story, but at the same time, a lot of good stories came out of that from those players that did survive. So thoughts and prayers, obviously, to those families that were affected by that, to those players, to everyone. So if you don't know about that story, just go ahead and look it up. Very sad, but also a very strong story to hear about those survivors. So good on them.
To give you a little bit of happiness about with someone who was in that crash, Jacob Westermans, I believe is his name, is actually now in the Olympics for the para rowing. So,
there we go.
I did see that.
No longer use of his legs, but he's still making a career of his life, and he's doing great, and he's in the Olympics now. So,
yeah, congratulations. That's huge. Yeah,
big claps.
For sure.
Big claps
for sure. Yeah, 100%. Let's see here. I'll do this one for Derek. Brady Tkachuk setting records with most hits ever laid in a single game was 16, and then getting baby cry face over the New Jersey Devils putting a puck in the net after the whistle. And he doesn't like it when players put a puck in their net, but he celebrates when his players do it. So, or his teammates. So, Chonk Tkachuk, not my favorite person, but I did it for you, Derek, because I know that he gets you points in fantasy.
Yeah, dude. Going against Matt. Let's go.
A little bit of sad news. I mean, it's pretty sad, but Reverie Kazari, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, was stretchered off during the Penguins Lightning game. I did miss that. I turned on the game late, so that must have happened earlier. But yeah, hopefully he's doing all right. It sounds like he's doing all right based on news that came out yesterday. So glad to hear that, but that is still really scary. I know that we always whine and gripe about the refs and how bad that they are about their job at their jobs, but they're still humans at the end of the day. So glad to see that he's doing all right. So good on him. Derek also put on here, and I'm assuming that this is Stuart Skinner. Poor Skinner with 1,000 games, but no playoffs.
Jeff.
It's Jeff.
Whoops. Oh, wow.
Stuart,
Jeff Skinner. Oh, okay. Jeff Skinner, yeah, plays his 1,000th game, but no playoffs. Yeah, I mean, no playoffs in your whole entire career. That's not good.
It's rough over in Buffalo right now. I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably fine with his $9 million to the bank, but
the Canes, right? It was the Canes and then the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, that's gotta be brutal. I mean, yeah, you gotta be happy that you're still earning that huge paycheck, but bro, like as an NHL player, like I get it, but like to him, it's like, well, I got a smooth sailing here, right? I get to go play golf early. Like I can get to just collect this paycheck, like I said, just do whatever the hell I want. So, okay, this is the last one, and I'm gonna make this a double question, I guess. Should the NHL implement an NBA style play-in? So I'm assuming that means that the bottom or the 4 teams that are close to the wild card spot would duke it out for the 2 wild card spots.
yep, 7 and 8
that-
would play each other, and 8th and 9th would play, and 8th plays the winner of 9th and 10th for that 8th spot.
Oh wow. Okay. Should they do that? I think that would make interesting hockey. Supposedly they did talk about that. And the reason why they didn't want to move forward with that is because of traveling issues. Excuse me. Pardon me. Wow. Jeez. And so to me, I guess I kind of get that, but I think that's bullshit. I think you definitely
agree with you.
implement this. Travel restrictions, is it because of the cost? It sounds like that they're just kind of making stuff up as to why they don't want to do it. To me, it's probably about cost. I get it if you're looking at longevity of your players, sure, but you want every opportunity to get into the playoffs. But then again, you had 82 opportunities to make the playoffs with the 82 games that you had in your regular season. Would it be cool? Yeah, I think it would be awesome. I think that would make hockey a little bit more fun, a little bit more intense. Nah. But I did want to throw this out there before both of you answer. On top of that, how would you guys feel about the league doing a 3-2-1 point system? So Derek, should they do the NBA style play in, and then should they do a 3-2-1 point system?
So at this point, because I keep saying that NBA style play in going around, but right now it's like we look at the 4 bottom teams. I don't think any of them really should be there. No one wants it at this point. It's like it kind of obviously if the league is getting bigger, and we've been having the same amount of teams in the playoffs for what? So there was like 22 teams anyways or something like that. So we're at to start implementing something different to keep like things interesting. But 82 games, I feel like we'd have to cut the season a little bit shorter if we're going to throw in more games. But at the same time, I can see that GMs and like stadiums and whatnot and all them, that's more revenue for them if they do play more games, especially at home. Yep. So it's really back and forth. I think, like you said, 82 games, you're pretty much know what by the end of that, and that should be it. But it'd be interesting to watch. I do like hockey, so I'm not upset if it goes all the way into July.
Yeah.
But I don't think the players want to do that. So
probably not. But what do you 3-2-1 point system real quick? Yes or no?
No, I think that's just way too many points. I think where we're at is okay. I still don't even like the point for the loss in overtime. I still think that's still kind of dumb. Like you lose. Like sorry, but not sorry. I think at this point, if you add another point in just for the heck of it, we're going to be seeing obviously record high numbers of like 150 to 200 points. It's like, okay, like where's everybody?
It would definitely mess up like the all-time records list, but are you really worried about that? Me personally, no, but some of the older folk might have an issue with it. But Carla, NBA style playing and then 3-2-1 point system.
Yeah, I'd be down to see a play-in. I think that'd be good for the game. Whatever the excuse is for travel doesn't even make any sense. Like Philly, Washington, I'm just looking at the standings. Philly, Washington, Detroit, Buffalo. Those would be the 4 teams hypothetically in this play-in. I don't really see what the big deal is in terms of travel. But coincidentally, and this is probably a big coincidence, but the way the schedule is right now, we're kind of already in a play-in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you take that for what it is, because it's kind of, the way these games are lining up over the course of the next week. This is the play-in.
Yeah.
Realistically,
True.
it's just not really called that. But I would be pretty cool to see. I think it's just another layer of marketing for the NHL play-in, and I think it would be good for a game that's currently, trying to grow. So I'm for it. I like the idea of it, and I think it would be good for not only the league but for the teams that are involved as well. 3-2-1 point system. Meh. I'm neutral on that. I don't really know what the benefits or I don't really think there's cons to it, because you're just getting more points if you win, essentially. But yeah, I don't know. I'm impartial to that one. Really, it doesn't bother me either way. So yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question, but I'm neutral on that one.
No, I mean, that's an answer, right? Being neutral, that's fine. Yeah. So to me, the only reason why, and I've seen people bring it up multiple times. I brought it up a couple times where I think that it would definitely eliminate, because you look at some of these teams, right? I'm about to pull them up here real quick on the standings, and let's see here. So you got teams like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia with 11 overtime losses. The New York Islanders, 15. To me, it just seems silly that teams that are better at losing later are in positions where the Red Wings have more overall wins than they do, and they're back 3 spots from a wild card spot. So that's one reason why I would say, do the 3-2-1 system. But to your point, Derek, it's a lot of extra points, right? And that might mess up all-time records, whatever, but that's the least of my concerns. I think it's to reward teams that actually win and just bring down the teams that can't close it out, right? I mean, 15 overtime losses,
and you're still above us.
You're third in your
division. I see your point.
Like, come on.
I see your point there, because we have 2 more regulation wins than they do, and we're below.
Like I'm going back to the basics. 2 points if you win, 0 if you lose. It makes it easy. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, that's as black and white as you can get. Yeah.
Yeah, then I would be okay with that too, I think. I mean, yeah, if you just lose straight up in overtime, then yeah, maybe you just don't deserve a point. Maybe you only get a point if you get it into the shootout.
You know what that point does in overtime? It rewards you're award. It's like it's a participation point.
No, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's why I was trying to say, like, you're rewarding teams for losing later in the game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's a good way. That's
exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're right. But I do like Derek's mindset of the black and white, simplistic. You get 2 points if you win. You get 0 if you lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if it goes into overtime, then there's still nobody has any points. And then whoever wins that game, whether it goes, finishes an OT or a shootout, they claim both points. The loser gets 0. I like that. And maybe that doesn't require, obviously, a 3-2-1 system. It kind of just keeps it the same way as it is now with a couple tweaks, because I guess I just realized that the Islanders had 15 overtime losses, and they're clearly being rewarded for that. So, yeah, that's a little off to me.
So, yeah, just a little food for thought. Just wanted to leave that out there. Yeah, for me, I guess I'm kind of neutral on the 3-2-1 system too, but I think it would still change the dynamic of how the standings currently are listed right now, or going to Derek's point where it's just 2 or nothing. I mean, that's kind of how it is in basketball too, where you go into overtime. It's not like the other team gets a point. It's win or go home empty-handed. So something for the NHL to think about. Hopefully they're listening and they take our advice. So please do it, so that way we can make the playoffs, please.
It's free advice. Just do it.
It is free advice. So we'll see though. So with that, we are coming to a close. And so before we head to our final thoughts, we wanted to stop and thank y'all once again for joining us on this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give us the thumbs up.
Please do.
Follow us on Spotify, and then rate us 5 stars. And with that, boys, let's close it off. Who wants to go first? Not all at once now. Come on.
Oh, baby boys, let's win, just win. That's all we need to hear now for the next 6 games. Just win.
Let's go.
And that playoffs, honestly, if we just win the next 6, guess what, guys? Playoffs.
And then Derek throws us a nice pizza party.
Ooh.
Shit, I got you guys. Don't worry.
All right, I'm holding him to it. Carlo, you heard it here first. He's going to DoorDash some stuff out to you in Windsor.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, though, Derek?
I mean, honestly, I'm just at the point where I just want them to win. I have no more thoughts. I can't make any more suggestions. We're at the end of the season, so just freaking put the puck in the net. Patrick Kane, not overtime. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. No overtime today.
Thank you.
Patrick Kane, game winner in the second period. And that's it.
And they win 5-2. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Derek, score prediction, real quick.
Score prediction: this game is going to be 6-1.
6-1 Red Wings. Okay, damn. Okay, Carlo, final thoughts, bud.
Final thoughts: shoot the puck, play for the guy next to you, and I hope Derek Lalonde knows what he's doing because it is confirmed and official that Austin Czarnik is the second line center in between DeBrincat and Kane.
Yeah.
God, I hope you know what you're doing, Newsy. I hope you know what you're doing. But anyway, shoot the puck, play for the guy next to you, just win. Those are my 3 thoughts. My score prediction: 4-2 Detroit.
4-2 Detroit. Okay. Yeah, my final thoughts are let's go Red Wings. Dubs are the only thing that should be on your mind right now and that you should be walking away with. 2 points every game, right? You have to at this point. It's too close. You have to. If they lose today, you boys are going to have to do a wellness check on me because I might just go fall in a ditch and stay there for a couple days until the season is over and I find out.
You don't think we're going to be doing the same thing? We're all going to need wellness checks.
Buddy.
So subscribers, if you're listening at this point, we all are going to need wellness checks. So please feel free to drop us some wellness checks in the comments.
Yeah, in the comments, on Twitter, wherever you can find us, do a wellness check on us if the Red Wings do, in fact, lose. But I am calling for a dub. I am calling 5. Well, I said 5-2 for Derek, so I'm going 5-2 Detroit. So y'all heard it here. So hopefully we get it right. One of us, we should be placing money on this, but let's go ahead and close it off, boys. So thank y'all once again for joining us on this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown, and we will see y'all on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.